Hello and welcome. This is Cheryl. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I created this layered peony card. Now, this is created with a die set from Honeybee Stamp. This die set has a lot of different layers to put together to create a flower as well as a bud. Now, before using the die set, I want to create some papers, and I decided to do some jelly printing with some Distress Oxide inks to create some papers with different tones of pink. I want to have some darker tones in the back and lighter tones in the front. So I've got 3 of the lighter tones here that I'm going to start with. I've got some Spun Sugar, Kitsch Flamingo, and Picked Raspberry, and I'm just putting a stripe of each of these on my 5x7 jelly plates. Now you can see that the one on the left is got a green tone to it. I like to use my jelly plates with alcohol inks, and when you're using them with alcohol inks, you let the ink dry and the greens tend to stain your jelly plate. It doesn't affect the printing at all. It prints exactly the same. It just affects the color of the jelly plate. And at this point, I haven't figured out if there's a way to remove that color, and because it doesn't affect my jelly printing, I haven't spent much time looking either. So I have some Neenah Classic Crest index stock. So this is thinner than the cover stock that I tend to use for my card bases. I ended up ordering it by accident, and it's not thick enough for a card base, but it's perfect for this jelly printing. It'll be perfect for die cutting and layering together. Now, before changing colors, you want to make sure to clean off the ink off your brayer. I actually did several sheets of this lighter tone set, and then I did several sheets of the darker tone set. So I just didn't think you needed to see exactly the same process repeated again and again. So for the darker tones, I've used the same Picked Raspberry. I've also got Festive Berries and Aged Mahogany. I'll have all the colors as well as all the supplies that I'm using listed in the description box below. So if I forget to mention anything, you'll probably find that information down there. And if you don't, please leave a comment. I'm happy to answer questions. So I do the same process as the lighter colors with my darker colors. I'm putting a strip of each one down, and I am taking my brayer. I have a 6-inch brayer here, so it covers the whole jelly plate pretty much. And as I'm moving that brayer back and forth, I'm also moving it up and down a little bit to create an ombre effect with the colors. I did the same thing with the lighter colors. I'm doing the same thing with the darker ones. Now I end up not using very much of the darker papers. I actually didn't like the way the Festive Berries and the Aged Mahogany looked with the Picked Raspberry. I do use some of the top parts of it, but I didn't use the bottom parts. So I printed off this graphic for helping with where to place each of the different dies from the Honeybee Stamps die set. It didn't actually have it listed on there. So what I ended up doing, and I haven't done it quite at this point, is I took a black Sharpie and I wrote right on the cardboard part of the die the order which they go. And I also ended up putting the same numbers on the backs of my dies with a black Sharpie. I'll probably have to touch that up regularly as I use this die set, but that way I can tell right away which set or which die goes in which layer. It just makes it easier in the long run. Those numbers are on the little graphic that I printed off, and I believe I printed it off from Honeybee Stamps website. It just is very helpful to know which one goes in which layer, and it takes a lot of the guessing out of doing it. So as I'm cutting the bits of paper out of my jelly prints here, I'm laying them on my desk in order so that I know which layers go on what, and I also know how light or dark to place it on the cardstock. Once I have that done, I am going to put a couple in the machine at a time and die cut them. I'm not going to start gluing them together yet. I'm going to die cut them all first, but it's really easy. Once you've got this all laid out and you know exactly what paper is going for which one, it's easy to just place them in the machine and die cut them. No need to tape them in place because the pieces of cardstock are small enough and they're not going to move. And because I have them all in individual pieces, I don't have to worry about things shifting in my machine. So before I glued it together, I took my die cut pieces and I just laid them on top of each other just to make sure that I liked the final result. I'm going to leave my dies out because I'm going to create a couple of this flower while I'm at it. And I did like how it turned out, so I'm going to put those papers back on my desk, and then I'm going to start gluing them together. Gluing them together is super easy. The bottom parts or several parts of the flower match up between the layers, so it makes it really, really easy to line up the pieces. And because we're going from dark to light, as it gets layered, you'll see the different darker layers beneath the lighter layers that are in front of it. I really love how this flower turned out. It is quite bulky because this particular piece has 7 layers to it. So it does get quite thick and sturdy as you're gluing the different layers together, which is actually great when you're putting things on the front of a card. You want to make sure that they are nice and sturdy and firm. But just so you know, you don't need to use super thick cardstock for this because of the fact that we're layering them all together. And in the end, 7 layers of even thin cardstock is fairly thick and sturdy. So I've got my first flower here. That last petal, I just flipped up the top part of it just to give it a little bit of dimension. Off screen, I created another one like it. Now I'm going to start cutting the pieces for the bud. Now there's only actually 4 flower pieces for the bud, and then there's a stem as well as just kind of a front little bottom leaf thing. So I did the same process as the flower. I took my papers, figured out where I wanted the pieces to come from, cut them out, placed them on my desk, and then I die cut them, and now I'm layering them together. And the layering again is very, very simple because there's always a part of the die from below that matches with the die at the top. So there's not a lot of guessing with where the pieces of the flower go. And then the same thing I did with this one as I did with the flowers. That last petal, I didn't glue the top part of it down. I kind of flipped it out just so it looked like it was starting to bloom, just to, again, to give it a little bit of texture and dimension. Off screen, I did a couple more of those buds so that I have them ready to go. Now, before I put my card together, I like to lay things out just to see if I like where it's going. And in the end, I decided I want a 3rd big flower. But I wasn't going to have the whole piece of flower. I was going to cut the bottom petals off. So when I laid my pieces out, you could see I had some white cardstock with it. It didn't matter because I knew from putting the flower together that those pieces were going to be completely covered and you'd never see it. So now I have 3 flowers together, and I like the way it looks a lot better. It just leaves a lot less open space. When I started this process, I thought I was going to use an oval to create my card. In the end, I swapped it out for this Spellbinders style, and I'll have it listed down below. The oval was too small for a 5x7 card, and the flowers were too big to do a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. So I needed to make a 5x7 card for them to look proper. When I put this die through my machine, you could see the 2 ends didn't cut. So I put a shim, which is just a thin piece of cardstock, underneath my bottom cutting plate, and I put it back through the machine, going back and forth over those ends a couple times. And you can see now that it is cut all the way through, so I can start taking that die piece out. I like to use a Spellbinders tool-in-one to take all those little bits out before taking it out of the die. I'll typically do this right over a garbage can, so all of those little bits will go right into the garbage, but you can't do that in film at the same time. So I have all of these pieces. They're easy enough to clean up and put in the garbage. Any piece that doesn't happen to come out with the tool-in-one, you can just use a die pick to poke those out. The outside part of that beginning die is just a solid part. So I took some green cardstock that matched the green from the stems, and I die cut that and put it behind there just to give it a little bit of color variation. Now I am putting my flowers on. I'm going to glue them in place and set them how I want. I'm using Distress Collage medium. I like using it because a liquid glue gives you the ability to move and put things in place while it's still wet. It also Distress Collage medium dries completely clear, and it dries matte, so if anything happens to seep out, you're never going to see that it was there. This die set also has a leaf die that goes with it, and I did die cut a couple of them, but I actually didn't like how they looked. They're kind of spiky, and I tend not to like leaves that have that shape. So this is how I had finished the card, and at this point I thought I was done. I opened the card and it looked rather plain, so the outline part of that first die for the background, I just cut one solid and I put it on the inside of the card. So just cut it out, glued it with the Distress Collage medium. And in the end, I thought this was going to be what finished the card. And after a couple days of looking at it, the front looked a little bit too plain. It was a little bit dull for me. So I ended up ripping the card apart. As much as I hated wasting the cardstock, I ended up ripping that whole front piece off. After doing that, I cut a piece of white cardstock that was a 1/4 inch smaller than the front of my card. I took some of the picked raspberry Distress Oxide, and I'm just inking around the edges. There's no need to ink the center part of the cardstock because that front piece of the card is going to completely cover it. So just inking nicely around the edges. I want to make sure that it's nice and bright. I did think about doing a jelly print with just this one color to create the same texture that I got from jelly printing for the petals, but in the end I decided not to do that. I thought I'd like a little bit of a different texture. So once that is inked and the ink has dried, I'm gluing that to the front of the card, making sure to have an even mat all the way around. And then I'm going to re-glue that front piece with the flowers and with the die cut onto that front. So when I flip this over, you'll see all the rip parts where I ripped it off the front of the card. No one is ever going to know that that happened once this is glued back on, but once I flipped it over, I thought it was kind of funny that it looked so horrible. Now that I have that glued on, I'm just going to put an acrylic block on there while it's drying, just to make sure that it dries nice and flat and perfect. So in the end, I liked it much better with that hot pink piece around it. And you could put that same thing on the inside, but I just didn't want to rip the card apart again. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.